So the first part of this week's video vlog comes from here, and this is Prospect Gardens overlooking Montpellier. Now Montpellier is the bit at the bottom down there, stretches along behind those houses there, and a little slice of it comes up this hill to the top there. On the far side, that's West Park Stray over there, and here, all the way down, and in fact behind to the cenotaph over there, this is known as Prospect Gardens. Betty's, famous tea shop, is just through those trees. So that's where we are, and every year, for the last couple of years, maybe 1 or 2 years, not very long, Harrogate has decided that it's going to have its own Christmas market. It's only on for a very short period of time at the start of Advent, often not even in December. Last day today, in fact. And there it is, at the bottom there, where the Stray meets the Montpellier quarter. It's twice as big as it was last year, extremely busy, but actually it hasn't caused too much chaos in terms of traffic. Traffic is still flowing quite freely along Parliament Street and Ripon Road, so that's not too bad actually. So this is my second visit. I visited yesterday after work, and do you know, I was in a foul mood yesterday. I really was. Had a terrible day, and I ambled along here, and I know it doesn't look like much, but you can see from some of the photos that I've taken, the bits down there, it's so festive. They have really put a hell of a lot of work into it. They really have, and it was lovely. It was so festive. You know, there was little sweet shops, there was, you know, all sorts of things. Obviously, overpriced food, burgers and stuff like that, but you expect that at things like this. That's not a surprise. It's the only way I imagine they can fund it. But you also had things like, there was a brilliant quartet of saxophones playing carols and stuff like that. It was absolutely fantastic. Spent maybe about 20 minutes wandering around, and by the time I left, my mood was as high as a kite. It really was. The only other thing to say about this is of course that it is on the Stray, and there are a lot of laws regarding what you can and cannot do with the area of greenery that starts here and runs all the way around the city. That direction, 2,000 acres, or is it 200 acres? I can't remember which one. It is a lot. It's Crown property in effect. It's sort of a cross between Greenbelt and Crown property, and there are Acts of Parliament that have to be relaxed for things like this to happen. As long as they benefit the town, it's deemed okay. We do have a fair that visits the Stray, another part of the Stray, quite often, and obviously they had to do a lot of work with relaxing rules for the Tour de France. So that is just one thing to remember. I don't know how much they can, as they grow, I don't know how much of this Stray they're allowed to take over, really. Anyway, after that, yesterday I went home to Dressing Markenfield, and the second part of my blog this week is going to come as I was doing that. Well, people, there is good news and bad news to do with the grotto this year. The bad news is that we have lost several sets of lights, at least 3. 2 of them were extremely old, to be fair. We're talking, gosh, 20 odd years old, and they finally sort of died. They weren't so good last year. The other one is a little bit of a surprise because it was a more recent one, and the one that I usually did, the sort of cascading waterfall bit down here, that set of lights is not working either. Now I've been able to replace the 2 sets of lights the 2 sets of old lights, although instead of having the because they were this sort of light, sort of quite old style really, and sort of different colours. Unfortunately, I've only been able to replace them with white, but it doesn't matter too much because we've still got green and pink elsewhere. But I'm not going to have the time nor money this year to replace the cascading waterfall of lights, unfortunately. It's already quite bright. There's quite a lot of lights here which are giving us enough light, so I don't think we need to worry too much. But it is that is a little bit of a disappointment to me, really. I do this grotto because I don't find the winter months terribly easy to deal with, actually. Oops, there goes a bell. I'm not sure you could call it exactly seasonal disorder or anything like that. Certainly never been diagnosed. But I don't really do well without sunlight for too long, and obviously during the winter months that's one of the things that we tend to struggle with, obviously. So, you know, I'm reasonably pleased with this year's grotto. I did manage to get something to replace. I did manage to get a new bit of kit. Every year, obviously, you know that I buy one item to improve the grotto, and that's not including the 2 sets of lights that I bought this year. It will also be a little bit brighter because I do have some lights that are battery powered and I have no batteries for them yet. So it will be a little bit brighter than this. But what did I buy? Well, I don't know if you can see it clearly or not. Oh no, you can't. If I can just push you up a little bit, there we are, towards the ceiling. It's this. There's little beads, little purple beads, which I've draped over the tinsel. So there we are. That's Dressing Markenfield for this year. This is, of course, the 3rd Christmas that we've done this, and the meal in the grotto will be happening later this month because it is now December. So there we are. There remains obviously for one last thing to occur before I say goodbye, and that's the birthdays. So a very happy birthday to all the following. Oh, and whilst I remember, look out for the UFC video predictions that is up this week. I believe there is a numbered event next week. And also, excuse me, next week the rest of my birds, the final batch of birds, are off to market. I was able to give a batch to a friend, which was fantastic. So that will be the 3 sort of batches from this year's breeding season gone. Now, time to look for birthdays. We've got quite a few this week. We've got Emma Strickland, who even asked me at work whether she would get a birthday mention this week. Yes, Emma, you do. We've got Tom Claxton, Lee Ibbotson, Hamish Coventry, Shirley Goldsborough, Eric Silver, and the fabulous Jens Pulver, of course. So many happy returns to all of those having birthdays just far enough away so that you can enjoy your birthday and then have Christmas as well, because any closer and it's a bit like, well, what do you do for the rest of the year if you have your birthday and your Christmas at the same time? Anyway, that's it from this week. Cheerio.